I think unless you're an Arsenal supporter, every other supporter.
Arsenal are interested in signing Brentford goalkeeper David Raya. Talks are ongoing behind the scenes about the next step and whether Arsenal will formalise their interest with a bid. It's thought Mikel Arteta wants Raya and Aaron Ramsdale to compete for the #1 spot. Now, the reason it may have surprised you is because they've already got Aaron Ramsdale. That's the thing. But Sam, why Raya?
Because he was arguably the best keeper in the Premier League last season. You know, Brentford had the 5th best defensive record in the league, only conceded 46 goals. And when you look at his stats, he is at the top of every metric except from crosses caught, which he's second. And for a keeper that's, I believe, 6 foot, that is actually quite good. He made the most saves from outside of the box, most touches as well. His distribution is incredible. And I think for a team like Arsenal, where they want to build from the back, and some of the mistakes that you did see from Ramsdale, or some of the scares that you did see from Arsenal, is that ability to play out the back with so much pressure. And I think one of the most noticeable ones was the Southampton game, when it was high-pressured situation for Arsenal. They were trying to win points. And I'm not saying Ramsdale isn't good with his feet. He's great, and their comparison is quite similar. But at the same time, yeah. I think Raya, they wanted him before. He's in his prime now. Competition for a team like Arsenal would be great, but I do think that if they do get him in, he is going to arguably be thinking that I'm going to be #1. I don't think he's coming in and saying, I'm going to be the second keeper.
Well, the Brentford boss Thomas Frank made it quite clear over the weekend that they want a sizable fee for the goalkeeper if he were to go.
I would love to get 40 million. I think that's what he's worth. I think he's one of the best keepers. I think he was one of the 4 best keepers in Premier League last season. So, what is the price for a player? What did Declan Rice? 1 year left. 1 year left. 1 year left. 105 million. Is that the price? Yeah. Is that a fair price? Or, you know, and Kane, they're talking about 1 year left, and it will cost about 150. So. Keeper his best age, I think.
It's Thomas Frank giving the Brentford side there, and we've talked about the Arsenal side, but what about the Aaron Ramsdale side? Dave, what do you think he will make of all this?
Well, I think he only signed a new contract in May of this year. The contract runs until 2026 with the option of a further year. I think when he signed that contract, Aaron Ramsdale probably thought that he was going to be Arsenal's #1 for the duration of that contract that he signed. I think Arteta said, the quotes when he signed the new contract was, "We're all looking forward to enjoying many more years of Aaron the player and the person at the football club." So certainly only a couple of months ago, it looked like Aaron Ramsdale was going to be the #1 going forward. And when you look at, Sam was talking about, well, Raya, if that deal happens, he'll be coming in expecting to be the #1, and Arsenal will have two top goalkeepers. But you compare that to some of the other sides in the Premier League, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, they all have undisputed #1 goalkeepers. So I wonder what the dynamic will be like. There's a link, obviously, with the Arsenal goalkeeper coach, Iñaki Kanya, has worked at Brentford before, knows David Raya well. So there's a link there. But it'd be interesting to understand what Aaron Ramsdale's thoughts were when he signed that contract.
Dan, Aaron Ramsdale is quality. David Raya is quality. Can Mikel Arteta keep them both happy? Because one of them's not going to be playing.
I would say it would be very, very difficult. If you look at West Ham last season, the way they managed their goalkeeper, so Fabianski was the Premier League #1, and then in all the cup competitions, it was Areola who played, and obviously they went all the way in the Europa Conference League. But playing in the Champions League, you'd think the Premier League #1 will be the Champions League #1. So then that just leaves the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, depending on how far you go. And we've seen with teams previously, when you don't have that definitive #1, it can actually add a lot of uncertainty. Chelsea have had it with Kepa and Mendy, and I don't think it did either of their performances any favours at times at Chelsea over the last few years. There was that bizarre time in 2000, I think it was, when Manchester United let Peter Schmeichel left, and they had Bosnich, Van der Gaal and Taibbi, and Alex Ferguson couldn't decide between the three of them, and that all ended up being a little bit of a mess there as well. So I would say it's very, very difficult, but Arsenal have put a lot into Ramsdale, the person. If you watch his interview when he signed the new contract, how he spoke about the club and his time there, the fans obviously really like him, not just as a goalkeeper, but as a person, and the way he is around the place and the way he is on the pitch as well. And we know Arteta puts a lot of credence into the personality and the character of players, as well as their ability. But I would say there's certain facets of the game that Raya is better at than Ramsdale, and I actually would think if Raya's in goal for Arsenal, he makes them better in an attacking sense, which I've said previously sounds weird to say for a goalkeeper, but David Raya's distribution is off the scale, by far the best distribution in the Premier League, in my opinion. He can do it all. So there is an argument to be had that Raya would actually be an upgrade.
Well, Klopp did say that when they were playing against them last season that he's basically like a number 10 because of how he started attacks and how confident he was on the ball. And I agree. I think when you look at the situation, it's going to be quite difficult to please both keepers when they're both in their prime years. They're both expecting to start. And yes, you can try and make it similar to West Ham's situation, but Fabianski's quite older, so he probably accepts that type of role as well. And Arsenal, they do have competition in every other position, but I feel like in goal, it's probably the hardest place to have that competition, because if you're a quality keeper, I don't think you won't want to settle for just playing in the cup competitions or just playing in the Premier League. You want to play in all the games.
Important as well, I think, to point out the amount of money, I think upwards of nearly 200 million that Arsenal have spent in this window. Their focus, from what we understand anyway, at the moment, is around outgoings and moving players on and getting some money back into the club before they talk about bringing further players in this transfer window.
Arsenal are weighing the possibility of making a bid for Brentford goalkeeper David Raya. The 27-year-old's future has been the subject of much speculation in recent weeks, with the Spain international indicating he is looking for a move from the Bees during the summer transfer window. Recently, Bayern Munich have been heavily linked with the goalkeeper, but according to transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, a possible move to the Alliance Arena has been put on hold. Romano claims Bayern wanted to take Raya on loan for the 2023-24 season, with the option of making the deal permanent, but Brentford have rejected the offer. With that possibility of a transfer to Munich cancelled, Arsenal have apparently shown interest in the player, who has just 11 more months left to fulfill his contract at the Brentford Community Stadium. According to information from The Athletic, the Gunners are exploring the possibility of bringing the Spaniard to the club. Mikel Arteta's side are believed to be keen to have genuine competition for current #1 goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, who impressed during the 2022-23 campaign. Raya appears to favor a move to Arsenal over Bayern, as the goalkeeper is keen to stay in the Premier League following his success with Brentford. Since joining the Bees from Blackburn Rovers in 2019, Raya has appeared on 161 occasions in all competitions, including 62 Premier League appearances. Would you like to see Raya play for Arsenal? Comment below, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. Until the next news.